Most people spend their entire lives immersed in a devastating and uninterrupted mental noise, a silent storm of internal voices that judge, doubt, anticipate disaster scenarios, and reignite memories of pain with every passing second. They try to solve their financial, emotional, and physical problems by running faster, screaming louder at the world, and draining their energy on the material plane. However, as they lie down in the dark of their room, the external silence only amplifies the internal chaos, and they realize they will remain trapped in the same tightness in their chest, the same suffocating doubt, and the same bitter feeling of helplessness. The cruel and silent error does not lie in your lack of effort or in your dignity as a human being. The error lies in the fact that you have been trying to find the solution to your conflicts while your mind is in a state of war. There is a divine principle, a code of peace, inscribed at the foundation of your subjective mind, which is completely inaccessible to those who live in turbulence. When you try to change your life out of despair, your analytical mind creates an impenetrable barrier. The more you try to force an answer using anxiety, the further away the solution becomes. It is the devastating law of reversed effort, operating at its maximum intensity. The rational mind of modern man has become a prison of noise. You wake up thinking about the bills coming due, spend the day reacting to external aggressions with irritation, and go to bed calculating the impact of your fears on tomorrow. What you have not yet realized is that your subconscious mind cannot hear your genuine desires while you are feeding this scream of terror. The subconscious acts as a neutral and highly sensitive plastic substance. It does not react to the beautiful phrases you pronounce out of obligation. It captures the vibrational frequency of your inner confusion and accepts it as a supreme command to create more chaos on your path. When your soul finds true silence, the storm of the physical senses loses all its power. This is not about inert passivity or escaping the obligations of the world. The silence of the mind is the highest form of spiritual authority. It is the state in which you turn off the alarms of doubt and allow divine wisdom, which dwells in your deep mind, to assume control and organize your reality with mathematical perfection. Thomas Troward taught that the original mind is the absolute quietude from which all creation springs. And until you learn to still your internal sea, you will continue sailing in shipwreck waters. To understand how this internal quieting is capable of dissolving seemingly unsolvable conflicts in matter, consider the case of Raymond St. Clair in 1953 in the city of Philadelphia. Raymond was a 48-year-old architect who found himself in a state of nervous breakdown and impending bankruptcy due to a devastating lawsuit that was dragging his family company to ruin. Every night, as he sat in his worn leather armchair in his office, the room smelled of old paper, burnt tobacco, and mold accumulated on stranded architectural blueprints. Raymond's chest contracted in a suffocating physical pain. His hands trembled as he handled the legal notices on the oak desk, and a cruel insomnia consumed him until dawn. He spent hours of the night waging aggressive mental dialogues with his opponents, imagining defense speeches, and foreseeing the public shame of seeing his name tarnished. Raymond prayed for peace and justice, but his real feeling all the while was that of a cornered animal, filled with anger, fear, and despair. He tried to use the force of his intellect and conscious will to resolve the litigation, but delivered to the soil of his subconscious the vivid image of a bloody battle and defeat. And as the deep mind is a perfect mirror that reproduces without fault the dominant state of spirit, Raymond's lawsuit suffered tragic reversals, legal costs multiplied, and his physical health collapsed. Raymond's mental noise was the very psychic force feeding the conflict and closing every door to a settlement. The absolute turning point in Raymond St. Clair's life occurred when he understood that peace is not the result of a battle won in the external world. Peace is the primary cause that transforms events in the material world. He realized that his legal conflict was merely the projected reflection of the permanent conflict he maintained within his own chest. By abandoning all mental arguments, silencing his analytical reason, and practicing the emptying of thoughts for 30 minutes before a dormicture, the energy around his case underwent a profound alteration. In less than 20 days of silent practice, his main opponent approached him completely unexpectedly, proposing an amicable settlement and ending the lawsuit without any financial demands. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. God's silence calms my mind and dissolves all conflict. What occurred with Raymond St. Clair was not a fortuitous miracle, nor a special favor granted by circumstances. It was the mechanical and exact application of what we call here on the channel the creative void frequency. This exclusive concept reveals that the subconscious mind can only rewrite your reality when the conscious mind interrupts the flow of negative thoughts and enters a state of absolute quietude. Silence is not the absence of thought. Silence is the concentrated presence of infinite intelligence. Most people live in fear of silence because it is in quietude that their wounds, pain, and uncertainties seem to gain a voice. That is why they constantly seek the noise of news, sterile arguments, and an excess of busyness. They do not realize that this continuous escape is precisely the fuel keeping their material conflicts alive. When you learn to face silence, not as a terrifying void, but as the sanctuary of your divine mind, all the weapons of the external world lose their edge. That is why I invite you to be with me every day here on the Subconscious Code channel. Walk by my side on this daily journey of transformation. Apply these simple steps in your daily life and watch with your own eyes as your reality unlocks and the conflicts in your life dissolve one by one. When you learn to guard your inner temple, material life inevitably bows to the order and harmony you established in the invisible. Your external reality is the exact photographic projection of the subjective frequency you cultivate in your soul. If you live in a state of friction with people, panic over money, and uncertainty about the future, your subconscious will interpret that vibrational pattern as a direct command to manifest more barriers on your path. There is no power outside of you punishing your journey. There is only your own deep mind executing the thought matrix you sustain in the silence of your being. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. Supreme peace governs my soul and pacifies my reality. Reflect with gravity upon how you have been treating your mind during moments of pause. What do you do when faced with a difficult problem? Do you surrender to the whirlpool of anxiety, seeking answers in despair? Or do you withdraw into the silence of your consciousness, knowing that the perfect answer already exists within you? If your choice is doubt and noise, you will continue harvesting exhaustion and stagnation. Deactivate now this compulsive need to solve everything through physical suffering and intellectual wear. Allow the quietude of God to occupy the space where the storm of your ego once reigned. The moment your mind falls silent and accepts peace as a present fact, internal conflict vanishes, external walls crumble, and the perfect solution emerges with the clarity and strength of a radiant dawn. The mechanics governing the deep mind make no distinction between a small detail of your routine and a major financial transformation in your life. It operates under the rigorous command of a universal law decoded by the greatest thinkers of New Thought, such as Thomas Troward and Ralph Waldo Emerson, the power of the subconscious mind. This law teaches that your subconscious is the divine mind in action on the personal plane, a creative mechanism that possesses no ability to argue, analyze, or reject absolutely any impression sent by your conscious mind. The great tragedy of modern human beings is living in an exhausting physical battle against the world of effects. People try to transform their material results by desperately changing strategy, working until bodily collapse and accumulating an overwhelming fatigue in the soul. They do not realize they are trying to alter the shadow projected on the wall without ever touching the invisible structure generating that shadow. Your subconscious mind is the creative matrix of all forms. It is the psychic mold where the substance of the universe is compacted before manifesting visibly to your senses. To make this truth unquestionable, think of the classic metaphor of the soil and the seed. Your subconscious mind functions exactly like the black, highly fertile soil of a garden, while your conscious mind acts as the farmer, tasked with choosing what will be planted. The soil possesses no moral judgment or analytical discernment. It asks no questions about the farmer's intention and never discriminates against the plant it will nourish. If the farmer deposits in the earth the seed of a majestic oak, the soil welcomes that idea with total submission and mobilizes the hidden nutrients of nature to raise a giant tree on the surface. But if that same man deposits in the soil the seed of a poisonous plant loaded with thorns, The soil will welcome that seed with the exact same mathematical fidelity, using the same energy to grow the poison before the eyes of the world. The overwhelming majority of men and women spend their days fertilizing the soil of the deep mind with seeds of despair, indignation, and terror of scarcity. Upon consuming catastrophic news, nourishing internal dialogues of conflict, and feeling tightness in their chest before problems, they are driving seeds of destruction into the sacred soil of infinite intelligence. And when the inevitable harvest brings more barriers and more suffering, they accuse fate and cry in silence, without realizing that the soil merely fulfilled its role of multiplying the seed delivered to it. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. My deep mind welcomes only seeds of peace and opulence. Consider now the metaphor of the captain on the bridge of an ocean liner in the middle of the sea. Your conscious mind is the captain remaining on the surface, observing the horizon and issuing orders via the engine order telegraph. Your subconscious mind represents the crew of engineers and stokers installed in the depths of the ship inside the engine room. The sailors down there do not see the ocean, do not evaluate storms, and have no permission to question the captain's charts. If the captain, seized by a surge of panic or emotional blindness, issues a direct order to turn the rudder toward the rocks and accelerate the engines to the maximum, the sailors in the engine room will simply obey without hesitating. They will move the levers with precision, and the ship will be dashed against the stones. For years, you have acted as a blind and fearful captain on the bridge of your own existence. You have sent orders of helplessness, scarcity, and conflict down to the engine room of your subconscious, and your invisible crew has fulfilled those orders with terrifying precision. There is another subtle obstacle keeping people imprisoned in cycles of pain: the deconstruction of one of the greatest limiting beliefs of humanity, the illusion that conflict, lack of money, or disease are blessed trials sent by God to test your dignity. This is one of the most tragic falsehoods ever accepted by the human spirit. The Bible decoded psychologically reveals that God is life, harmony, and infinite abundance. Poverty and internal conflict are not virtues. They are symptoms of spiritual ignorance, a psychic anomaly caused by the erroneous belief that you are separate from the creative source. Nature manifests plenty and silence in every detail. Forests overflow with life without effort. Oceans display incalculable richness, and the cosmos houses billions of galaxies without any sign of scarcity. Money and peace are expressions of divine energy in motion. When you cleanse your subconscious of the noise of guilt, envy, and resentment, the flow of prosperity circulates once again in your life with the force of a mighty river that has broken its dams. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. Infinite intelligence is my source and supplies me now. This is where it becomes indispensable to apply in your daily life what we call on the channel the subjective silence filter. This exclusive concept consists of disarming the noise of the conscious mind at the exact moment it tries to install discord in your soul. When bad news, a financial collection, or an external provocation reaches you, do not react on the material plane. Do not nourish the mental argument. Withdraw for 3 seconds into the sanctuary of your mind and decree the presence of divine harmony. Think of the cinema projector metaphor. Your physical reality is merely the white screen where the movie is being displayed. If the movie shows scenes of pain, scarcity, or fighting, it is useless to run to the cloth screen to try to tear the image with your hands. You must go to the inner projection room. You must change the film roll inside your subconscious mind before the light projects the scene into the world of the senses. When your soul calms down and accepts silence as its natural state, your subconscious assumes command of your destiny. Doors that seemed solidly locked open without a sound, the right opportunities appear on your path, and the peace that surpasses all understanding governs every step of your journey. Be with me every day here on the channel and watch your own life transform and unlock as you follow these simple steps and apply the laws of the mind. When you take conscious control of your inner temple, you cease to be a dry leaf blown by the wind of circumstance and become the supreme master of your reality. There is a state of sacred quietude, an infinite calm taking hold of every fiber of your being the instant you finally understand that the universe does not demand your desperate struggle nor your physical fatigue. The answer to every one of your prayers was already conceived on the plane of the Supreme Mind, even before your reason could articulate the first word. The reason so many people spend years imprisoned in the clutches of anxiety, financial scarcity, or emotional despair is that they insist on praying from the vibration of the problem itself. They try to bargain with the divine source, offering their tears, pain, and sweat, as if they were bargaining chips. However, the infinite intelligence dwelling in your subconscious is an immutable, loving, and absolutely impersonal law. It never responds to anguish or the disordered supplication of doubt. It responds solely and exclusively to the law of your own subjective acceptance. When you learn to silence your physical senses and apply the decree of power in the half-sleep state with absolute serenity, the resistance of your intellect completely collapses. The knot of anxiety that tightened your chest dissolves like mist before the morning sun, and the invisible substance of life begins to mold external circumstances to reflect your internal victory. To pray scientifically is to align your soul with the perfect conclusion, resting in the unshakable feeling that what you decreed on the spiritual plane has already become an indisputable fact in matter. Approach this moment now with a calm, pacified heart, entirely purified of any resentment, fear, or haste. Disconnect from the demands of the day, drop your shoulders, relax your jaw, and feel the welcoming and protective presence of life, covering every inch of your being. We are going to perform at this exact instant a deep spiritual intervention, a sacred decree of liberation and peace to dissolve all the barriers of your subconscious. Breathe deeply and slowly. Let the air renew your energy, and as you exhale, surrender all accumulated anxiety to the Supreme Mind. You are safe. The Divine Presence is in absolute command of your life. Feel the words of scientific prayer penetrate the fertile soil of your deep mind like a blessed rain of restoration. Absorb every spiritual command with the unshakable certainty that transformation has already begun in the invisible. The infinite intelligence dwelling in my subconscious mind is the creative source of the entire universe, and it now dissolves, by the power of its silent presence, all blocks, limiting beliefs, and patterns of conflict inscribed in my being. I recognize that absolute peace governs my mind, my home, and my affairs. All discord, fear, scarcity, and uncertainty are completely dissolved in the light of supreme truth. The wealth of the Creator flows into my reality in uninterrupted currents of opulence, peace, and prosperity. Money is a divine idea circulating freely in my experience, blessing my path and multiplying into infinite channels of utility and good. No barrier created by the physical world and no limitation imposed by men can halt the progress of my journey, because infinite wisdom opens perfect pathways of victory where before there was only impossibility. I surrender my tomorrow, my finances, and my family to the unshakable protection of the Divine Mind. The peace that surpasses all understanding guards my heart, and I rest in the absolute certainty that everything is already accomplished on the plane of spiritual perfection. I give thanks for the liberation, internal clarity, and infinite harmony materializing now in my present reality. So it is, and so it shall be forever. Feel the authority of this decree echoing in the depths of your spirit. Doubt has been eradicated, and your subconscious has accepted the command of triumph. There is no force in the physical world capable of revoking the spiritual law you have just activated in your deep mind. Repeat now in the silence of your heart this absolute truth. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and establishes perfect peace in my life now. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and establishes perfect peace in my life now. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and establishes perfect peace in my life now. You are not a limited or helpless being at the mercy of economic crises or world circumstances. You are the legitimate heir of divine wisdom, the living channel of supreme opulence, endowed with the immeasurable power to rewrite your reality through your deep mind. The blueprint of your victory has already been recorded in the depths of your being, and the Supreme Mind is aligning all events to deliver to you the sacred harvest of your faith. Be with me every day here on the Subconscious Code channel and watch your own life transform and unlock as you follow these simple steps. Subscribe now, leave your like, and share this message to strengthen your mind daily with the immutable laws of the spirit. Before falling asleep tonight, as you lay your head on the pillow and feel your body relax completely, refuse any thought of concern or conflict. Disconnect from the screens of the world, close your eyes in silence, place your right hand over the center of your chest, and gently repeat the divine word of power, like a lullaby for your subconscious. Peace, peace, peace. Fall asleep, lulled by this feeling of realized victory. It is in the blessed silence of your sleep that your subconscious will work to build a radiant, prosperous, and deeply fulfilled tomorrow. Go in peace. The divine mind guards your rest and illuminates your path.